Welcome to Dave's Cards and Sports Games. We haven't done this for a while. Let's check out another baseball set that I own. It's the 1978 Topps Baseball Complete set. Let's get to it. This will be a little longer video. I decided I'm going to do one video instead of two videos of the 1978 set. And they had a little game in the back. I remember playing this when I was a kid. And you get the cards, and let's just start right here. Let's just say my brother's up. He gets a walk, then an out, then a base hit, runners on first and second. Out, 2 on, 2 outs, then a double. He scores a run, and an out. So he gets 1 run, and we'll play the bottom of the inning. I'm up now. A double, out, out, and out. So my brother beat me, and look at that. He would have got a single, a walk, bases loaded, out. I would have been up in the second, base hit, out, double, out. We need one more. We got to find one more card. We'll pull that one out. Walk. Ooh, could I hit a grand slam? Out. So my brother would have beat me if we would have played that, but kind of a fun little thing with the cards in 1978. I was 12 years old. Let's get to it with the 1978 Topps set, all in pretty good shape. Start with Lou Brock and Sparky Lyle, Willie McCovey, Brooks Robinson, most consecutive seasons, one club. What was that record? 23. And Pete Rose, most hit switch hitter lifetime, which was 2966. He didn't have 3,000 hits yet. Look at that. Nolan Ryan. So I'm going to make it a little bigger here, a little wider. There we go. Please like and subscribe to Dave's Cards and Sports Games. I've been doing a lot of different things here. Played a little APA the other day. Played a little quick play football the other day. I'm going to play quick play basketball pretty soon. Reggie Jackson's most homers in one World Series. What was it, 5? 5. And let's get to the main set now. Mike Sadek, Doug DeCinces, Phil Niekro, Rick Manning, Don Asse. And when he pitches bad, they call him something else. Art Howe, Larry LeGros, Tony Perez, Hall of Famer. We'll try to count the Hall of Famers in the main set. Roy White, look at the years he played for the Yankees. It was 1666, 150 home runs, 273. And he hit a dramatic homer against Boston. But good career for Roy White. Mike Krukow, Bobby Grich, Darrell Porter, Pete Rose, Hall of Famer. Steve Kemp, Charlie Huff, Bump Wills, Don Money, John Matlock, Richie Hebner, Jeff Zahn. I used to like the little script writing for the teams on the bottom, too. And the baseball had the position in. That's always kind of cool. Ed Ott, one of my favorite names to say. Bob Lacey, George Hendrick, Glenn Abbott. One of the first Mariner cards. That is the first card of a Mariner, actually, with some stats on the back. So there's the M's. Gary Templeton, Dave Lemancic. Willie McCovey, Hall of Famer. That's a third one. Sparky Lyle, Eddie Murray, rookie card, Hall of Famer. That's 4. Rick Waits, Willie Montanez, Floyd Bannister, Carl Yastrzemski, 5 Hall of Famers. Bert Hooton. Look how happy he is. George Orta. Bill Atkinson, Toby Hara, Mark the Bird Fidrich. Look at that rookie year, 19-9. Then he goes to 6-4. A lot of injuries, too bad. Al Cowens, Jack Billingham, Don Baylor, Ed Kranepool, Rick Ruschel, Charlie Moore, Jim Lonberg. And by the way, Pete Rose is not a Hall of Famer. I'm going to say players that I believe should be in the Hall of Fame. Like Steve Garvey, I'm going to count them too. There's Philly Garner, Tom Johnson, Mitchell Page, Randy Jones. He had a great year one year. Look at that, 20-12 with a 2.2 ERA. Then he backs up the next year. Pretty good, too. Dan Meyer wearing the M's hat. Bob Forsch, Otto Velez. Thurman Munson. Larvell Blanks, Jim Barr. Don Zimmer. With a big wad of chaw. Gene Pence, Kenny Singleton. And the first team card, I believe, the Shy Sox. First team card. Once again, we're going to do all 726 cards. There's Claudell Washington, Steve Folkalt, Mike Vale, Rich Goose Gossage. I believe he's in the hall, so we'll say 6. Terry Humphrey, Andre the Hawk Dawson will make 7. Andy Hassler, unmarked checklist, Dick Ruthven, Steve Ontiveros, Ed Kirkpatrick, Pablo Torrealba, Daryl Johnson, Ken Griffey, Pete Redfern, the San Francisco Giants with a streetcar. California Street Cable Car of the San Francisco. Bob Montgomery, Kent DeCalve, like watching his sidearm approach. Ron Fairley wearing the Blue Jays outfit after the first season, the uniform. Dave Tomlins, John Lowenstein, Mike Phillips, Ken Clay, Larry Boa, don't think he's in the Hall of Fame, Oscar Zamora, Adrian Devine. How about Bobby Cox? Boy, he must have been fired and came back to be the manager. I didn't even know that. He's in the Hall of Fame as a manager. Chuck Scrivener, Jamie Quirk. The Baltimore Orioles with Earl Weaver right there. Stan Bonson. Jim Essien and Willie Hernandez. That's the first 100. I pulled that stack out pretty good. I randomly pulled a stack of 100 out and got to 99. I have done this before. Let's see how good I can do on the second stack. Looks like I'm a little high on this one. 206, so a little too many. But I think we're at 7 Hall of Famers. Let's keep on going. Sid Manji. Who's card number 100? Oh, here. Card number 100 is right here. Here we go. The bigwigs are 100, 200, 300, 400. There's George Brett. Card number 100 after a 3-12 season. He gets the out, though. All right, so George Brett is card number 100. And then Sid Manje will be card number 101. Matt Alexander, Tom Murphy, Lee Lacey, Reggie Cleveland, Bill Plummer. Oh, and Brett's a Hall of Famer, so that's 8. Ed Hulicki, Von Joshua, Joe Torre. I believe he's in the Hall of Fame for coaching. So we'll say 9. Richie Zisk, Mike Tyson, Houston Astros. Art House should be in the middle somewhere. Or I think that's him right there. Don Carruthers, Paul Blair, Gary Nolan, Tucker Ashford. How about Josh Montague? Terry Harmon, Denny Martinez, his brother Stippy Martinez. There's a Hall of Famer right there. Gary Carter, make that 10. Elvis Woods. Dennis Eckersley, make that 11. Manny Trio, another good player. Dave Rozema, George Boomer Scott, Paul Moskow, Chet Lemon, good player. Bill Russell, a lot of good players here. Mr. Bill, there's Jim Colburn, Jeff Burrows, Hall of Famer, Bert B. Holmby, 11. That's 12. Enos Cabell, Jerry Augustine, Steve Henderson, Ron Guidry, great Yankee, Ted Sizemore. Don't think he's in the Hall of Fame. I always get him mixed up with Simmons. Craig Mongo Cusick, he coached high school in the South Minnesota suburb of Rosemont for many years. Or Minneapolis suburb, Twin Cities suburb, I should say. Larry Desmarais, Wayne Gross, Raleigh Fingers, another Hall of Famer. Let's make that 13. Rupert Jones, John Montefusco, Keith Hernandez, should be in the Hall of Fame. I'm going to give him the Hall of Fame. We're going to go 14. Jesse Jefferson, Rick Monday, Doyle Alexander, Lee Mazzilli, Andre Thunder Thornton, Dale Murray, Bobby Bonds, a lot of great players. Milt Wilcox, Ivan DeJesus, Steve Stone. Harry Carey with Steve Stone. On WGN. Now he does the White Sox games on the TV. How old is he? He is almost 80. Jeepers. Cecil Cooper, great player. Could be in the Hall, but I'm not going to count him. Butch Hobson, Andy Messersmith, Pete Lecoq, Joaquin Andujar. Lou Piniella, there's the one that's in the Hall of Fame. I got him mixed up. So there we go. There's Jim Palmer, Hall of Famer. I lost my count. Let's just say 17. Bob Boone, another great player. Paul Thormansgaard. Billy North. Bob Ochinko. Rennie Stennett. Carlos Lopez. Tim Foley. Reggie Smith. Jerry Johnson. Lou Brock, another Hall of Famer. Let's make that 18. Pat Zachary. Mike Hargrove. Robin Yount. There's another Hall of Famer. 19. Wayne Garland. Jerry Morales. Milt May. Gene Garber. Dave Chalk. Dick Tidrow. Dave Concepcion, another borderline Hall of Famer just for his defense. Ken Forrest, Jim Spencer, Doug Bird, Checklist, Valentine, Bob Stanley. How about Jerry Royster? Al Bumbry was a good player. Tommy Lasorda, he has to be in the Hall, don't you think? What does it say he is? 20. Candelaria, Rodney Scott. Once again, guys, Hall of Famer, Hall of Fame caliber. There's the Padres. Where's Dave Winfield? Oh, there he is. Look how tall he is compared to everybody else. Rich Childs, Daryl Thomas, Larry Durker, Bob Baylor, Nino Espinoza, Ron Pruitt, Craig Reynolds, Reggie Jackson. This is one of my favorite cards of all time right here. How do you not like that card? Look at the knee. A millimeter or two off the ground. Just cranking one. Could have struck out too, but we could just all think he hit a homer. How about the batting leaders? Dave Parker, Rod Carew, 2 Hall of Famers. Jim Rice and George Foster, home run, another Hall of Famer for Jim Rice. But we're not going to count these for the Hall of Famer. RBI leaders. The twin, Larry Heisel, led the league in RBIs. George Foster had a monster year. Pitchers, stolen bases, Freddie Patek and Frank Tavares. 70-53. Victory leaders. Hall of Famer, not a Hall of Famer, not a Hall of Famer, Hall of Famer. And I think the 20 was what they all hit. Yep, 20. National League, 23. Look at all the 20-game winners in the National League. A lot of big names. Russell, John, Forrest, Candelaria, Seaver, and Carlton. Wow. How about Nolan Ryan and Phil Niekro, Hall of Famer, Hall of Famer. So we are done with 2 stacks now. 2 stacks done. And a little over 5 stacks to go. Hope you're having a great day wherever you're watching this across the world. I know I have some subscribers from Japan. Very nice to see the Japanese when they subscribed. A lot of them subscribed when I did the Otani video, of course. There's another stack. Once again, this was one of my favorite sets as a kid. Because it's the one I remember. It's the first set I ever completed. Went to Ben Franklin in Cambridge and would always jump on the rack packs, 3 big packs, and I would tell my dad, if I was a good boy, can I get a rack pack? And they'd get a rack pack from him when my mom would get there and give me a rack pack. So my mom would do it. I'd ask my mom and dad for money, and they'd give me a little money. Rolly Fingers, Bill Campbell, Frank Tanana, John Candelaria. There's Doc Ellis. Jose Cardinal. Look at the long career he had. He played for everybody. Decent stats. 270 or 276 batting average. They did not put stolen bases down back in the day. There's Earl Weaver. Has to be in the Hall of Fame. So we'll say 21. Mike Caldwell, decent pitcher. Alan Bannister. How about the California Angels? Darrell Evans. Looks like he's upset about a call. Mike Paxton with the painted on Boston hat. So he must have been traded from the year before. Boy, they did play for the Red Sox, so that's definitely a painted on hat. Rod Gilbreth. Marty Patton. Mike Cubbage. Pedro Bourbon. Chris Spear, played forever. Jerry Martin. Bruce Keeson. Jerry Tabb. Don Gullett. Looks like all the Yankee pitchers are throwing in their shots. Joe Ferguson, Al Fitzmaurice, Manny Mota, Leo Foster, Al Herboskin, the Mad Hungarian, Wayne Nordhagen. From Thief River Falls, Minnesota. He was a pilot for airlines and then ran the airport in Thief River Falls. A little trivia that you would not know. Mickey Stanley, Dick Pohl, Herman Franks, Tim McCarver. Oh, cool. They gave you, I was just wondering what they did in the back. That was his Major League batting stats. Not very good. 199 career batting average. Tim McCarver. Can't remember if he's in or not. I don't think he is. Terry Whitfield, Rich Dower, Juan Beniquez, Dyer Miller, Gene Tennis, Pete Vukovich, Barry Bennell. We're kind of not seeing as many Hall of Famers in the last stack and a half. We're getting up to the 50 number, and that should be close to a Hall of Famer. Let's see who it is. Rick Burleson, Dan Dreesen, Larry Christensen, Frank White, Dave Goltz, and this could be it. Greg Nettles, he gets the 50. Not a Hall of Famer. Look at that painted on hat. He played with the Angels the year before, so he was wearing an Angel hat in this picture, and they just put socks. Look how big that is. Steve Swisher, Jim Kern, Dave Collins. I used to like Dave Collins. Well, he's already played for the Angels before he played for the Mariners. There's Jerry Royce. He's a card collector, I believe, and he also has a Facebook page, and he's on it a lot. Joe Altobelli, good pitcher. I have his rookie card somewhere. It's 1954, 56. I wish I had that sitting right here. I'd pull it out right now. I can't believe I got a card from him right there that he's a coach. Hector Cruz, John Hiller. How about the Dodgers? Let's find Tommy Lasorda. Right there. See if we can find Steve Garvey. Garvey should be easy. He's a pretty boy. Funny, you think Garvey be easy. Is that him there? I would guess that's Garvey right there. Zooming way in. Bert Campaneris, fast player. Tim Hosley. Rudy May, or may not. Danny Walton, Jamie Easterly, Sal Bando, Bob Shirley, Doug Alt. That's a cool picture. Gil Flores doing a little pregame stretch. Wayne Twitchell. Carlton Fisk, Hall of Famer. Been a while since we had a Hall of Famer. Carlton Fisk. That's 21, I believe. Randy Lurch. Royal Stillman. Fred Norman. Freddie Patek. Disco Dan Ford. Bill Bonham. Bruce Boisclair. Enrico Romo. Billy Verdon. Played for the Pirates. for many years. Decent batter. 1,500 hits, nothing to sneeze at. Won a World Series. Way to go. One of my favorite players growing up and being a kid, how do you not like the name Buddy? Buddy Bell, great third baseman for the Rangers and Indians mostly. Eric Rasmussen, how about the Yanks? Where's Reggie? There he is, right there. Omar Moreno, Randy Moffett, Steve Yeager, Ben Ogilvy, Kiko Garcia, Dave Hamilton. Oh yeah, one thing about Ben Ogilvy, everybody thought his name was Ogilvy. It's Ogilvy. And he played for the Red Sox before that. There he is, playing with the Red Sox. Got a little better with the Tigers. Said he hit it inside the park homer. A lot more inside the park homers were hit back then. Kiko Garcia, Dave Hamilton, Willie Horton, Gary Ross, Gene Richards, Mike Willis, Larry Parrish, Bill Lee, Spaceman Lee, Biff Pecoraba, Warren Brewster, Tony Armas, who was a home run threat. He struck out and hit homers. Whitey Herzog, I don't know if he's in the Hall or not, but we know he is. Joe Morgan. So that's about 22 Hall of Famers. All right. Here's the next stack of 50 or so. Buddy Schultz, Cubs. They always did this for the Cubs. They never had a team pitcher that was all together back in the day. Sam Hines, or Hines, don't know that name. John Milner. Rico Cardi. Look at that. Joe Niekro. Glenn Borgman, Jim Rooker. A lot of cards were taken at Yankee Stadium. Cliff Johnson. Don Sutton, another great pitcher. Don't think he's in the Hall. Jose Baez, Greg Minton. Look at that. Can you get a worse pitcher than that? Boy, it almost looks like it's a fake picture. Andy Etchebarren, Paul Lindblad, Mark Belanger, Henry Cruz, Davey Johnson, Tom Griffin, Alan Ashby, Fred Lynn should be in the Hall, I believe. Santo Alcala, Tom Wimpy Pachorik, Jim Fregosi, Vern Rapp. Bruce Sutter, there's a Hall of Famer for you. Mike Lum, Rick Langford. So we're at about 24 Hall of Famers. The Brewers. And there's the slide. Trying to find Cecil Cooper. That might be him right there. John Verhoeven, it's another sidearmer, played for the Twins. Bob Watson, good first baseman. Mark Littell, Dwayne Kuiper, Jim Todd, John Stearns, Bucky Dent, a legend doing some bunting. Steve Busby, Tom Grieve, Dave Heberlo, Muriel Guerrero, Bake McBride, Mike Flanagan, Aurelio Rodriguez, John Wathan, Sam Ewing, Louis Tiant. I don't know if he's in the Hall or not. Larry Bittner, Terry Forster, Del Unser, Rick Camp, Steve Garvey. I'm going to call him a Hall of Famer because he's going to make it one of these days. Jeff Torborg. Dave's Cards and Sports Games. Please like and subscribe. I have fun doing these videos. Hopefully you have fun watching them. I try to be entertaining as well. Tony Scott, Doug Bear, Cesar Geronimo, Bill Travers. How about the Mets? Tom Poquette, Mark Lemongello, Mark Hill, Mike Schmidt. How about a Hall of Famer for Mike Schmidt? We'll say 25. Chris Knapp, Dave May. He might not. Bob Randall, Jerry Turner, Ed Figueroa, Larry Milbourne, Rick Dempsey, he was a comedian, Baylor Moore, Tim Nordbrook, Rusty Staub, I used to like that guy, Ray Burris, Brian Asselstein, Jim Willoughby, Jose Morales, Tommy John, I think he's on the hall, so we'll say 26. Jim Wolford, Manny Sarmiento. There's Bobby Winkles with the, I like that white hat. They got to use that more, the white A's hat with just the green or gold. I'm colorblind. It's either green or gold letter, no trim. I like that. Skip Lockwood, Ted Simmons. I believe he's in the hall, so we're going to say 27. The Phillies. Let's see if Mike Schmidt's easy to find. That guy in the middle, is that Steve Carlton not even looking? Is that him just turning and talking to a teammate? Look at that guy's not looking either. That guy's not looking. It's like look at that, like the bald person there isn't looking. Look, the guy's scratching his face. Guy in a blazer. So not the best team picture for there's Mike Schmidt right there. All right, Joe LaHood, Muriel Mendoza, Jack Clark, Tito Fuentes, Bob Gorinsky. I don't remember him too much for the Twins. Battled 195 one year. Yuck. Ken Holtzman, Phil Fahey, Julio Gonzalez, Oscar Gamble with the fro, Larry Haney, Billy Allman, Tippy Martinez. We saw his brother Denny earlier. Roy Howell, Jim Hughes, Bob Stinson, Greg Gross, Don Hood, Pete McCannon, and here's going to be the legend, Nolan Ryan. Nolan Ryan. Very nice. Hall of Famer. We'll say 28. 28 Hall of Famers. Here's 29. Bam. Sparky Anderson, Dave Campbell, Bud Harrelson, the Detroit Tigers. On WJR, Raleigh Eastwick, Mike Jorgensen, Odell Jones, Joe Zeb, Ron Schuler, Bill Madlock. Here we get some action shots here. Yankees rally to defeat the Royals. It just has the Yankee stats. 2 homers in the series. Bad ERAs for Gullett and Figueroa. It looks like Thurman Munson had the series. All right, let's see what happened in the NL Championship. Dodgers overpower Phillies in 4. Doesn't tell you how many games or anything. Dusty Baker had a couple of homers and had a nice batting average. But nobody else really did. Look at Davey Lopes, 235. Garvey did okay. And Tommy John did great. World Series, Reggie and the Yankees reign supreme. Let's see the home run stat for, look at that. 5 homers, 450 batting average for Reggie Rue. Pitchers. Torres did well. Gullett and Catfish Hunter did not do well. All right, let's get back to the cards here. Dire Old Knowles, Ray Fosse, Jack Brohammer, Mike Garman, Tony Muser, Jerry Garvin, Greg the Bull Luzinski, Junior Moore, Steve Braun, Dave Rosello. That's Ryan Braun's dad. The Red Sox. There's Zim right there. There's Jim Rice right there. There's 3 guys they stick on the wall who didn't make the photo. That's funny. I mean, I'm learning things later in my life here. Yeah, these guys are not in the photo. Couldn't make it to the picture day, so they just stuck them on the wall. That's funny. Steve Rogers, Fred Kendall, Mario Soto had some many good years. Joel Youngblood, Mike Barlow, Al Oliver, great player. Butch Metzger, Terry Bulling, Fernando Gonzalez, Mike Norris, Vic Harris, Bo McLaughlin, John Ellis, Ken Kravick, Davey Lopes, Larry Gura, Elliot Maddox, Daryl Cheney, and how about Roy Hartsfield, the first coach for the Blue Jays. Looks like he played for Brooklyn. Trying to find out what that be. The Braves? Braves had a hat that just had a B on it? Really weird to throw his minor league stats and the major league stats. You have to figure out what teams the major played for. The St. Paul Saints. Had a great career at St. Paul, 26 homers. So there's Roy Hartsfield, the first coach for the Blue Jays. Mike Ivey, Tug McGraw, closer for 10 years. Larry Stanton, Billy Castro, Tim Blackwell, Tom Seaver, Hall of Famer. I believe that's number 30. The Twins, they finally get a shot at Met Stadium. There's Gene Mauch. Tony Oliva right there. Dan Ford right there. Trying to find Rod. Rod Carew, not sure. There he is right there. Rod Carew. All right. Jerry Mumphrey, Doug Flynn, Dave LaRoche, Bill Robinson, Vern Rule, Bob Bailey, Jeff Newman, Charlie Spikes, Jim Catfish Hunter. I don't know if he's in the Hall or not. He could be. We're going to say yes. We're going to give him a Hall of Fame. We're going to say we're now up to 31. Rob Andrews, Rogelio Murray, Kevin Bell, Jerry Grote, Hal McRae, great player. Dennis Blair. How about Alvin Dark? Warren Cromartie, Rick Cerrone, good catcher. J.R. Richard, great pitcher. Rice Smalley won a World Series for the Twins. Ron Reed, Billy Buckner, lost a World Series for the Red Sox. Jim Slayton, Gary Matthews, Bill Stein, Doug Capella, Jerry Remy, a longtime announcer for the Red Sox. The St. Louis Cardinals. Ron LaFleur, Jackson Todd, Rick Miller, Ken Maka, Jim Norris, Chris Chambliss, John Curtis, Jim Tyrone, Dan Spillner, Rudy Mioli, A.O. Amos Otis, Scott McGregor, Jim Sundberg, Steve Renko, Chuck Tanner. He's in the Hall of Fame. No, Jim Leyland's in the Hall of Fame. Sorry about that, Chuck. Dave Cash, Jim Clancy, Glenn Adams, Joe Sambito, and the card number 5. Ooh, there's the Mariners outside of the Kingdom. King County was the county that the Mariners play their games in. And that's the Kingdom. And George Foster gets card number 500. Once again, it's a little longer video. Easier for me to do than having to stop and cut one and do another one. So here's 90 more here. We'll just go for start now. Dave Roberts. Pat Rocket. Don't remember the Rocket. What if he was a pitcher? And they had the original Rocket. Ike Hampton, but he's not. Roger Freed, Felix Milan. That's one of the few action shots you're going to see in this set with 2 people on it. Ron Bloomberg, Willie Crawford, Johnny Oates, Brent Strom, Willie Stargell, Hall of Famer, let's say 31, Frank Duffy, Larry Herndon, Barry Foote, Rob Sperring, Tim Corcoran, Gary Beer, don't remember him either. Andres Mora, Tommy Boggs, Brian Downing, Larry Heisel, Steve Staggs. That's funny too, because that's a painted on picture of him. Because he played for the Twins year before, so they just colored the jersey. They put a couple of fake stripes in here with some paint. Make the hat. See how fake that is? They'd make it look like he's sweating. But that's a Twins hat he's wearing there. Steve Staggs. How about Dick Williams, a fantastic coach for many years. Don't know if he's in the Hall, but he should be. Donnie Moore. Bernie Carbo, another good player. Jerry Terrell. How about the Reds? There's just a few Hall of Famers in this picture. Here's the back row. Here's Johnny Bench. Foster. Sparky. Pete. Where's and there's Morgan. All right. Vic Coral. Rob Piccolo. Paul Hartzell. Dave Winfield, Hall of Famer, 33. Tom Underwood. Skip Jutse. Don't remember him. He only had 169 at-bats for the Mariners. 220 batting average. Sandy Alomar. Wilbur Howard. Rorik Harrison. Bruce Bochy, Johnny LeMaster, Vic Davillo, Steve Lefty Carlton, Hall of Famer, 34. Larry Cox, Tim Johnson, Larry Harlow, Lenny Randall, action shot. Bill Campbell, Ted Martinez, John Scott, Billy Hunter, played for the Indians, it looks like. The last card was the Indians. Worst year, 155 batting average, no homers. Could have got him that year with the Yankees when at least he had a couple homers and a 240 average. Joe Kerrigan. Here's a home run hitter right here coming up. Many years hitting 20 or more, John Mayberry. Here's the Atlanta Braves. Francisco Berrios. Terry Poole, Joe Coleman, Butch, love that kid Weiniger. They would say he'd play for free. He loves baseball so much he'd play for free, and then Calvin Griffith would pop up in the background. I love that kid. Tight butt Calvin Griffith, just like the management now for the Twins. What a bunch of bums. Ed Armbrister, Tony Salita, Paul Mitchell, Phil Minkowski, Dave Parker, Hall of Famer this year. So that's about 35. Charlie Williams, Gillen Burt, Dave Radar, Mick Kelleher, Jerry Koosman, cool looking shot. The Mets, and looks like the Mets and Yankees get all the action shots. If you're on any other team, you got to do that. Merv Rettenmund, Dick Drago, Tom Hutton, Larry Sorensen, Dave Kingman, Buck Martinez, Rick Wise, Louis Gomez, Bob Lemon. The guy could pitch and hit. I mean, look at that. Look at all this wins. He's on the Hall of Fame. Hey, and I don't even need a guess. Don't need a guess on this one. Bob Lemon, Hall of Famer. So let's just say 30. I just lost how many Hall of Famers are at. Let's say 36. Pat Dobson, Sam Mahias. The Oakland Athletics in there. I love this picture because they have all the colors of the jerseys. The coaches are wearing white. Players are rotating between their greens and their golds. How cool is that? Plus Capra, Rance Mullenix, Rod Carew. There's a Hall of Famer for you. About 37. Fran Healy, Lynn McLaughlin, George Medic, John Hale, Woody Fryman, Ed Goodson, John Urea, Jim Mason, and Bob Nepper, and Bobby Mercer. Some good players. A lot of good players that aren't in the Hall of Fame. But had great careers. Maybe in their team's Hall of Fame. George Zeber. There's a name I don't remember. 65 at-bats. That could be why, but he had 3 homers. Must have got hurt. George Zeber, Bob Apodaca, Dave Skaggs, Dave Frazeleben, Sixto Lascano, Gary Wheelock, Steve Dillard. I know most of the guys. Some of them I don't. Eddie Solomon, Gary Woods, Frank Tanana, great pitcher. Gene Mock. Always stern. He was a good arguer, too. He got thrown out of a lot of games kicking dirt on the umpires like Earl Weaver. Eric Satterholm, he played for the Twins. Probably played for Gene Mock. Willie McCaney. McEnany. Wonder if it's related. Earl Williams. Rick Rhoden. How about the Pittsburgh Pirates? There's Chuck Tanner there. There's probably the owner. Look, much better looking picture than the Cardinals. Fernando Arroyo, Johnny Grubb, John Denny, Gary Maddox, a lot of good players. Pat Scanlon, Ken Henderson, another decent player. Look at the career he had. I mean, he had 18, 20 homers, 290 batting average one year. I mean, that's a good player. Marty Perez wearing the A's whites. Joe Wallace, Clay Carroll, Pat Kelly, Joe Nolan, Tommy Helms, Thad Bosley, Willie Randolph, another great player. Hey, not an action shot for the Yankees, surprise. Craig Swan, Champ Summers, Eduardo Rodriguez, Gary Alexander, Jose Cruz, good player. How about the Blue Jays at Exhibition Stadium outdoors in Toronto, where center field was like 700 feet? Dave Johnson, Ralph Garr, Don Stanhouse. Oh, yeah, they put a portable wall is what they did in Toronto. In the football stadium there. Ron Say, Danny Ozark. When did he play? Looks old. In the early 40s. Hey, he played for St. Paul Saints too. 307 batting average. A lot of them. They played for the Saints a lot. They went to Fort Worth. Back to St. Paul. These are all minor league totals. Never played in the major leagues. Wonder if that's a Saint pitcher. It has an O on it. Probably that Omaha late. I don't think it's going to be Olean in the A-League. Almost done. Rolling office. Tom Verizon, Len Barker pitched a perfect game for the Indians. Joe Rudy, Jim Bibby, Duffy Dyer, Paul Splittorff, Gene Kleins, Lee May, Doug Rao, Denny Doyle, Tom House, Jim Dwyer, Mike Torres, Rick Auerbach, Steve Dunning, Gary Thomason, Moose Haas, Cesar Cedeno, Doug Radar, Ron Hodges, Pepe Frias, Lyman Bostock would be in the Hall of Fame if he wasn't shot dead in his prime in Gary, Indiana. Yeah, he was a great outfielder. He was traded to the Angels and got shot in the offseason in Gary, Indiana. Bombo Rivera, he was a fan favorite in the Twin Cities. Manny Sanguillen, I think he was a fan favorite in Pittsburgh. The New York Rangers. I'm thinking hockey. I like hockey a lot too. There's the Texas Rangers, and I like the scoreboard with just the state of Texas, and it had all the stats in it. I don't know if they had that in their new stadium. Jason Thompson, Grant Jackson, cool looking warm-up jacket, wearing a jacket. Paul Dade, Rick Ruschel, Paul Ruschel, Fred Stanley, Dennis Leonard, Billy Smith. We have the last stack of 60 cards. Jeff Bird, good name. He's playing for the Birds, the Blue Jays. Man, I like that hat. Dusty Baker, Pete Falcone, Jim Rice, Hall of Famer, number 40. Gary LaValle, Don Kessinger, Steve Bry, Ray Knight. I remember the Twins at one time had Steve Bry and Steve Braun, both of them on the same team. Ray Knight, Jay Johnstone. He was a clown. Bob Myrick, Ed Herman, the Twins, Tom Bergmeyer. Decent reliever for the Twins and the Red Sox. Wayne Garrett. Vida Blue. Oh, boy, is he in the Hall? Don't know. Bob Bellore. Ken Brett. His brother's in the Hall. Mike Champion. Ralph Hawk. Look at that picture. Played 150 games for the Yankees. No home runs. 272 batting average. One of the best minor league seasons in 40. Played in Joplin. Batted once in 1947 and had a hit. That's cool to know. It's Frank Taveras. Gaylord Perry, Hall of Famer, 41. Julio Cruz, that's a great looking shot. He was a speed demon. George Mitterwald. How about the Indians? Gabe Paul? Don't know, the owner. Mickey Rivers, once again, the Yankees have almost all their shots are action shots. Ross Grimsley, Ken Reitz, Lamar Johnson, Elias Sosa, Dwight Evans, great right fielder for the Bo Sox. Steve Mingori, Roger Metzger, Juan Bernhardt, Jackie Brown, Johnny Bench, Hall of Famer, bam! That puts us to about 43. Let's look at these players. Tom Hume had a great career. Larry Landreth, don't know him. Steve McCaddy was a decent pitcher. Bruce Taylor, don't know him. Bill Naharadny, a little taste of the majors. Kevin Paisley, don't know him. Rick Sweet, a little taste. Don Werner, don't remember him. Larry Anderson, he played for a little bit. Tim Jones played for a little bit. Mickey Mahler played for a little bit. Jack Morris played for the Twins and the Tigers and the Blue Jays. Hall of Famer, 43. Garth George, don't really remember. Oh, he played a little bit, I should say. Dave Oliver, don't remember him. Lou Whitaker's a great second baseman. He should be in the Hall of Fame. Sam Perlozo isn't. Willie Norwood made a load of errors for the Twins one year. Clint Hurdle had a decent little career. Miguel Delaunay pitched for a while. Dave Bergman played for the Astros, so all those guys made the majors. Wayne Cage, don't remember. Ted Cox, don't remember. Pat Putnam had a decent career. Dave Revering played a little bit. Mickey Klutz played for a while. Paul Molitor kind of made the Hall of Fame. Alan Trammell made the Hall of Fame. 2 Hall of Famers on one card. How cool is that? UL Washington, and the card's in nice shape. Centering's good too. Yeah, a little off center. Bo Diaz, he had a good career. Dale Murphy, fantastic career. 2-time MVP. Lance Parrish, great catcher. Ernie Whitt, a good catcher. Good card. Steve Burke, don't remember him. Matt Keogh had a good career. Lance Routzman, don't remember. Dan Schatzeder pitched for a long time. Del Alston, don't remember him. Rick Bassetti played for a while. Mike Easter played for a long time. Keith Smith, don't remember. Cardinal Camper, don't remember him. Dennis Lamb played for a while. Craig Mitchell, don't remember. Roy Thomas, don't remember. Bobby Valentine, Bob Davis. We're closing in on the finale here. Mike Anderson, Jim Cott, Hall of Famer. Clarence Gaston, Cito Gaston. Nelson Briles, Ron Papa Jackson. Randy Elliott, Fergie Jenkins, he's in the Hall. So 43, Billy Martin, don't know if he's in the Hall, but he should be. Pete Broberg, Johnny Walkenfuss. How about the Royals? There's George right there. Kurt Bavacqua, and the final card in the set is Wilbur Wood. Played forever. Actually, didn't play much when he played with the Red Sox. Then when he went to the White Sox, he was a great pitcher. Back to back to back to back. Four years in a row, 20 wins. 1 year with a 1.9 ERA. Had to have won the Cy Young that year. If he didn't, what a joke. So, hope you liked it. The 1978 Topps baseball set. Please like and subscribe to Dave's Cards and Sports Games if you could. I'd appreciate it. Have a good day. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you soon.